Hey everyone, Nick Engvall here. Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about some of the people that make the sneaker history community and this podcast possible. It's more important than ever to think about who you give your money to when you're buying clothing to go with your kicks. Our friends at Guilty Goods started their brand with a goal of giving back, especially to the communities that make sneaker culture possible. With every purchase from Guilty Goods, at least 10% of the proceeds are donated to organizations like Big Brothers and Big Sisters, the Susan G. Komen Foundation, the Movement for Black Lives, and many more. You can save 30% on your order by using the code HISTORY at guiltygoods.us. Again, that's history at guiltygoods.us for 30% off, and you can feel good about your purchase knowing you're supporting a meaningful cause. Sneakers are all about presentation, and if you're like me, displaying your kicks at home or in the office is just as important as when they're on your feet. Sneaker Throne makes sneaker display cases featuring customizable LED lights, drop-side cases to showcase the entire side of the shoe, not just the heel or the toe, the whole shoe. They've also got display cases for trading card collectors and hat collectors. To me, it's the perfect way to display your collection. You can save at least 10% on your Sneaker Throne order by using the code HISTORY at sneakerthrone.com. That's history at sneakerthrone.com. If you're a Patreon supporter or a member of our Discord community, you already know about Kicks with V Hot Sauce and his small batch, locally sourced hot sauce. V has been one of the biggest supporters of sneaker history and the podcast since the early days. He's currently the defending champion in our community trivia nights competition. Kicks with V Hot Sauce has been a huge hit with the community. You can save 10% on your order by using the code SneakerHistory10 at kickswithvhots.com. That's SneakerHistory10 at kickswithvhots.com. Now, you're probably here because you like sneakers, and if you join the Discord, you know our community is about so much more than that. Whether it's the marathon-like community calls, trivia night debates, the in-person meetups, or just sharing our favorite experiences, we found that although we have such different backgrounds, we all have some unexpected shared passions. Not only does the entire community look out for each other when it comes to releases, we're like a support group for life in general. You can join the Discord community for free by heading to the show notes of this episode. After you're done listening to this episode, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to have someone show their appreciation. Now let's get into today's episode.
Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move! James with no regard for human life. 12 seconds. Bryant for the win. Iverson against Gill. The crowd on its feet. Allen for the win.
Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast.
What up, what up? My name is Nick Engvall, and this is the Sneaker History Podcast. For me, sneakers has never really been about the shoes. It's been about the people. Sneakers have been the connection to friends, business partners, unforgettable stories and memories, and opportunities that I could have never imagined. My goal has always been to create something that opens doors for others to find ways to do something they're passionate about for a living. If you're already a member of the Sneaker History Discord, you know how great the community we have is. It's so much more than sneakers. When someone needs some help getting through a tough time, the community is there. When someone in the community drops a new product line or publishes their first YouTube video, everyone is quick to support. That's why this year we'll be launching a series of new podcasts directly from the community. The first is a Formula One focused podcast hosted by myself, Rohit Malhotra, and Todd Yates, where we hope to make becoming an F1 fan a little easier and give you a better understanding of the sport, whether you're just starting to watch or a longtime fan. You can check it out at exhaustnotes.fm or linked in the description for this episode. As always, thank you for supporting Sneaker History, and don't forget to tell someone you like their kicks today.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sneaker History Podcast. I'm Robbie, and I'm here chilling with my man Jordan. But Jordan, how you doing, Mr.
Man,
J?
I'm great, bro. Just living life, trying to get better every day. I mean, weather's beautiful today, so I really have no complaints.
That is beautiful, beautiful day, beautiful conversation about to happen. But
Definitely.
with a beautiful photographer, man. Some of your photos, I mean, one of them particularly is Steph Curry. We'll pop it up in here when we go into the editing. But you probably have one of the photos of like 2020s already, like. Who knows? People
Right.
be talking a lot, but photo extraordinaire Jordan here. We're gonna be talking photography, talking shoes, talking some Warriors basketball. All good fun here. I want somebody to walk away from this conversation feeling positive, feeling inspired, and I feel like you bring a lot of that. So go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, where you're from. The 411 on you.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Jordan Jimenez for the people that don't know me, otherwise known as J Squared, first and last name, or first and last initial. But yeah, I'm a sports photographer. I'm 24 years old, from the Bay Area, born and raised, kind of been here my whole life other than maybe like 9 months in LA. But yeah, I'm a very simple guy. So I mean, I just love basketball, I love photography, sneakers, video games, anime, just a whole bunch of nerdy stuff. So, I'm not a very complex person, but just super passionate about things.
What I think rocks is like, I would say the same thing. Like nerdy stuff is what interests me, but like nerdy stuff is just cool stuff now.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And it's crazy. Like yesterday. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, please. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Like I was just about to say, like yesterday I was able to even just like walk into a movie theater and watch like an anime movie of like my favorite anime. So it's like I watched the Jujutsu Kaisen movie yesterday, and like it's super cool that how regular it's become. And just like, all these things that people get made fun of like growing up for like watching Naruto and just like all these different shows, it's super regular now, so it's super cool.
You got Michael B. Jordan and Naruto collabs. You got My Hero Academia in movie theaters.
Yeah,
it's really a fun time to be into that culture. You said you're a simple guy, so let's just start with this. Let's break the ice and get people to know you a little better. I like to do a little this or that type thing.
Okay.
Let's go this way: Naruto or Dragon Ball, or Naruto or other. Let's just say Naruto or other.
Naruto's kind of hard to beat out. I feel like a lot of different things stem from Naruto, so I'm rocking with Naruto. He's that guy,
man. He is. And if you like positivity, I feel like he's like the poster child of this, like, shonen, just like happy-go-lucky, like kicking ass type guy, and
exactly
all about that.
And he's super balanced because he has all that happiness, and at the same time, he has his little dark side that you have to tap into a little bit sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that's an important part of just like any grind in general. So there's just like so many different things you can learn from him, and just anime in general, you can always learn something.
You gotta let go of some orange chakra sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
How about this? Especially since you took a photo of one of these guys. Yeezys or Jordans? Let's just go overall. You get all the Jordans or all the Yeezys.
You have to go Jordan, just because it's like I don't know. I don't know if it's like
24.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an emotional tie or anything, but I mean, you're talking about Jordan. I mean, there's no other signature lines really without it. Like all these different things that he did to change the game. It's hard to beat out MJ, but I'm a big Kanye fan though. I will say that. But if I had to pick signature lines, I'm going with Jordan for sure.
How about we just tone it down a little bit? How we just go like Dunk or Air Force One? If you had to rock one to, go take courtside shots of the game, which one are you rocking? Model.
I'm gonna say Dunk only because they look a little bit better on me. But if I had a preference, just like on a shoe, I'd go Air Force.
Just a preference on a shoe. Okay, good.
But they don't look as good on me as Dunks do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I feel like Dunk is just like it just fits foots differently in a good way.
Exactly.
All good there. Okay, so you're a longtime Bay Area resident. So let's take it a little bit back, not too far back, but if you had to watch somebody not in this current era of Warrior basketball, would you rather watch like Baron Davis in his prime, Warrior prime, or like Monte Ellis at his Warrior prime? Who's selling the ticket to you?
See, I was a big Monte fan, but I would go Baron Davis in his prime because he was nasty. Mm-hmm. Like he was like that. So I'm going Baron Davis. I can't even. But emotionally, see, these are good questions because I'm always like, But if I had to pick one, Baron Davis, because he was cold, bro.
Ice cold. That we believe. I mean, Matt Barnes was on that team too. There's a lot of Mikael Petrus, I think, too.
Yeah, Al Harrington, Steven Jackson, the boy Biedrins.
Yes. Man, good stuff. All right, so could Dre take Dennis Rodman? Kurt and Dre. I mean, peak Draymond Green. Who are you taking, Draymond Green or Dennis Rodman?
That's a little bit just difficult to say, just because one, the bias of it, of just like me growing up in a different era, I was never really able to like fully watch Rodman like that. So I lean Draymond just because I've seen how smart he is, and like, he's super smart. So it's just kind of like, it's hard to go against him, but I can't really say because I've never really watched too much Rodman.
I would say Dre's the right answer, man. Like, you don't have, Dre is a cerebral, better than 90% of people on earth. There's levels of Dre. He's an onion, and that's a good onion. So
Yeah, underrated. Like a lot of people don't really appreciate him the way we should. Like just a brilliant basketball mind.
Steph and Clay and your boy Jordan, everybody on that team is not getting the same looks without Draymond. So
yeah, even
Robbie
like
the
Draymond's first game back, like last week, I mean, first passes to Steph, gets an open look, hits that. It's like it changes the flow of the game so much. Yeah,
it becomes
it's
the beautiful game.
basketball. Yeah,
Yeah, right? It really, really is. Okay, so in a shootout competition setting, this isn't like which player you taking forever. Okay, let's say it's, you're shooting on court. You know, you're at the practice facility. Clay and Steph going at it. It's a little individual gentleman's 3-point shooting contest. Who you betting 20 on that day?
And it's just spot up.
Yep, spot up. Let's just go like, shooting like All-Star Weekend style, the racks. They're feeling saucy that day.
Oh, that's tough because when they get hot, they both get super hot. And I've seen Steph do some crazy things in his workouts. Oh, dang. I have to go with Steph. It's just hard not to.
It is hard.
Yeah.
That is really a testament though to how great Clay is too, where it's just like it really makes you bite like, they're both competitive ass dudes. They're both friends.
Two of the greatest shooters of all time. It's like, man. And Clay has such a pretty jumper, bro. Like, that's a work of art.
It really, really is. And it's like when it's your boy too, and it's like friendly competition, your friends kind of tend to bring you up.
Exactly. It's like they would go crazy. They probably wouldn't even really miss like that.
So I went so Warriors heavy there towards the end because I wanted to set up for you to talk a little bit more about what you do. Let's just say it's like your month to month is very different. So like what's a normal like a week for you? Like shooting Warrior stuff. What's that look like for you?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on how many games there are, but typically on a regular game day, I'll wake up at 4:30 in the morning, hit the gym, go through my morning routine, which is like journaling, meditating, reading, just kind of preparing for the rest of the day. And so that'll probably bring me to like 8 o'clock. 8 or 9, and then kind of just getting ready, just like working on some edits from the day before if there was like a shoot that I had to do or a game the day before, and then you just kind of rest out until like, let's say the game starts at 7. I'll probably get there at 4:30, just to like shoot all the pregame stuff for Jordan and everyone else that's there. And then I'm just there until like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then you kind of do the same thing the next day. So for me, if it's not a game day, then I'm really just catching up on the editing, educating myself, trying to find different things that I could create or just coming up with ideas. So every day kind of looks the same. But if there's not a game day, then it's like, okay, I'm going to homeschool myself essentially. Or if I have a shoot that day, go to the shoot.
It takes discipline. It sounds like you're waking up early. Like if you don't make that regimented wake up time, everything kind of spiral out. So that's really good that you do that. I think
exactly. And it's kind of just like essentially scheduling an appointment with myself. Like I'm always able to schedule all these people in my calendar for shoots and just like all these different things that they need. So for me, the 4:30 a.m., that's kind of like, okay, that's the time for me to like really take care of myself, my mental and spiritual and physical health. So for me, it's just like, I have that appointment. I've signed that contract with myself. So I have to show up every day.
Yes, you do. You gotta make yourself billable to yourself.
Yeah, facts.
So I mean, you brought up Jordan Poole's having a breakout season for the Warriors. You're having a breakout season for yourself. Like how did that relationship start, and how did that become you ending up at the Warriors? 3 hours early shooting everything. Yeah,
right. So you really have to take it back like 3 years ago. So when Jordan got drafted into the league and he was coming to the Bay Area, I was working at a gym in Burlingame, Unlimited Potential Basketball, and I was helping the trainer, Packy Turner, shooting all his workouts and any sessions that he would have, helping him build his brand. And then he was having a 5-on-5 session over the summer, and so that was Jordan's first summer in the Bay Area. So he pulled up to the 5-on-5 run and all that, and we just honestly just started talking super organically. Just went up to him, introduced myself, and we started talking about just like random stuff like video games and like Super Smash Bros. And all that. And eventually we just kind of just stayed in contact the whole time for whatever reason. And like, over the past 3 years, even if he wasn't playing as much the first 2 years, we were just always talking, always just like bouncing ideas off each other or like sending each other music. And then by the time this season came around over the summer, we kind of felt like it was going to be that year where, things were going to pick up for the both of us. So we kind of decided like, hey, like we already have like some sort of chemistry. Let's just get to work and see what happens. So we just like had a meeting before the year started, talk about what we want to show and, what parts of the story we want to tell. So it kind of just happened super organically. And, luckily, like our paths just kind of aligned. Like me and him are around the same age. I'm 24, he's 22. So we're just both coming up at the same time, to be honest.
Who's winning Smash though? Like,
you know what? I've never played against him in Smash Bros, but I wouldn't bet against myself though.
Right?
You know what I mean? So
I
feel like I'd probably take him.
Samus. Yeah, man.
I'm more of a Falcon kind of guy.
Oh, okay. Falcon at speed, all about that.
Yeah, facts. I'm not super good though.
It's really tough. There's some elite players out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, okay, you're shooting basketball. So let's walk that back a little bit. So before the Jordan stuff, and you're now, let's just take it back 3 years. Then you're shooting 5-on-5 stuff at this basketball gym.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you there? Was it like the love of basketball? Like what brought a camera? Like how did that earlier stuff kind of get mixed up into a pot for you to be based for success?
Yeah, right. So even before I started working at that gym, I was actually working with a different trainer. His name is Devin Williams, in the lab 10,000 hours. He's pretty big on YouTube and social in general. But so Devin was kind of one of the first people that gave me an opportunity. This is probably 2017. Yeah. So I started photography like late 2015, when I was a senior in high school. And then, so once I graduated high school, I was just kind of shooting like portraits and landscapes and everything like that. And then I just kind of said, okay, I'm not playing basketball anymore. I love this thing, photography. Let's try to find a way to bring the two together and just see like what happens. So I was just shooting a bunch of different workouts, from like coaches that were coaching me in like third grade or whatever. And, just showing up to different games, like people that I didn't even really know. It was just kind of my way of getting into the gym and just getting my reps in and all that. And eventually I got to the point where I felt like I was comfortable enough to start reaching out to other people. And so I had this friend, James Chun, and he was training with this guy, Devin Williams, who to me at the time was a huge inspiration. Just like his whole documentary on YouTube with 10,000 hours and that entire series, it's inspired so many people from my generation. So I was just like, hey, like if your guy Devin ever needs any photos, I'll pull up, do it for free, all that stuff. So a lot of this a lot of where I'm at now has to do with the free work that I did. So for a bunch of different people, and even now, like I still do a lot of free work. But anyways, so Devin was the first to give me an opportunity. He told me to pull up to a workout. Like he texted me like a week after I sent him a super long text message, just being an eager, enthusiastic kid, just like, you inspire me, blah, blah, blah. Like anything I could do. Exactly. Literally. Like he was that guy. So for me, it was just kind of like, I'm gonna say all these nice things and then I'm offered to like help out for free, see what happens. And then, so from there, I became his photographer for 2 years, moved to LA with him, traveled the world with him to like Spain and London and all these different places. And so yeah, it was just really putting in my 10,000 hours just to refer back to him. And then just putting the work in, and eventually one thing led to another. I moved back from LA, didn't have too much work and all that, so I reached out to Packy, the trainer in Burlingame, and then just kind of everything from that point is just kind of everything just lines up for itself. And in between all that, I dropped out of college.
Yeah. No, yeah. What's really, I mean, we'll link the 10,000 hours into this episode so people can check out what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. But like so many key points there, I want to just do some baby touch offs from. So any creative in this like sport footwear creative space, I mean, you don't start off just saying like, hey, I would like $5,000 for work, please. Like, like I've written countless stuff for free and it's like offer to do stuff for free, and other people, that's what you do to like get your foot in the door. And then you gave praise. Some people think it's like corny or like, oh, I don't want to just like whatever kind of feelings you have about just being like, hey, I'm a big fan. Let me, like, if I can help, like, things aren't handed to you. So that's two big lessons there. But I think the biggest one that I want to pivot to kind of what you do now is where it's finding the self-value to be like, all right, I really can't take like these kind of jobs for free anymore. Or like, I need to start like charging for my, what were some of like the first like paid photography works? You don't have to get really specific or anything, but like how did that transition for you from like, cool, I'm so eager, I want to do stuff, to free to like, I bring quality work, like I need to make money for this.
Right. So the funny thing is, it took a while, and not necessarily because I didn't believe in my value or the quality of work, because that's something that I honestly felt like I was really good at right when I started. But I wasn't super concerned about the money, because at the same time, like while I was starting photography, I was working. I was working at like a milk tea shop in high school, and then going into college a little bit. And then at one point I had 2 jobs at the store Vineyard Vines for whatever reason, and then Benihana, and then eventually transitioned to that. Yeah, right. And then eventually transitioned into Apple at some point, and all while going to school and like, taking on a full course load. Wow, stuttering. But can you go ahead and repeat where the question was? I went on a tangent.
No, you're so good. I do that all the time too. Like, so like where did you start drawing the line between like, right, I'm doing this for free to making money? What were some of those like earlier gigs to get you?
Right. That's where I was going with it. So when I dropped out of college, the week after, I went to my first McDonald's All-American, and it was just like networking out there with the guys from Adidas and all the athletes and everything like that. The week after that, I went to Spain with Devin. We were shooting for Adidas in the Euro League. And so like, it was kind of at that point where I realized I could really start charging for at least basketball photography, because beforehand I was already charging for like the portrait sessions and the prom photos and, all that stuff. But, once I felt like I reached a pretty decent level of work and I was kind of climbing the ranks, so to speak, that's kind of where I felt like, okay, like people really have to start paying me now. But at the same time, I was still doing a bunch of free work. Like even with Packy in Burlingame, I did free work for him for like 3 months, and I was there like 8 hours a day. So, it's just, for me, it's always just like kind of paying my dues. And yeah, I probably could have done it sooner for a lot of these different things, but I mean, I just love what I do so much, and it's like I'd rather just put my head down and work and worry about the money later, because I figured that would come. But
so you've never had to fight the like from being transitioning from a fan to a professional. It sounds like you've just been like letting it happen in a positive way.
Exactly, and I just want everything to happen super organically. Like everything that I do, like I've written down as like a way of manifesting what my goals are and like the path that I want to take. So I figured like if I'm really putting in the hours and genuinely trying, the money will come, the opportunities will come. I just need to be great, like as an artist, as a photographer. As long as I'm doing good work, everything else will fall into place, and as long as I'm being a good person.
So from what I picked up earlier, and kind of the Adidas, international photography work and the basketball stuff, you were a hooper yourself in high school, it sounds like.
Yeah, so I got cut my freshman year, played my sophomore year, ended up getting hurt my sophomore year, like from track, and like I had this like weird injury so I was a jumper, and we trained outside and we were doing box jumps. It had rained the day before. I jump on the box. I end up slipping, falling backwards, hitting my head, neck, and back. I'm in bed for a month with just like my issues. And so like to have the confidence to come back, it was kind of like a hard mental battle, and like all these different things happening in life. Like my parents getting a divorce, and I was going through a depression for like 6 years, and that's kind of why I picked up photography. So all these different things, and I, for whatever reason, just couldn't find myself back on the court. Like I was always going with the team with like the workouts and all that, but I just couldn't get myself to like really be out there for some reason mentally.
No, it's totally fine. This isn't an audition tape for the Warriors. Totally just wanted to try to build that the bridge between what you're doing now and why basketball. I figured it's either the footwork or you're just being a Warriors fan from being in the Bay. Like,
right.
Which one is it more, like the basketball stuff, or like were you a huge sneakerhead back in the, or what's the level of sneakerness or evolution of sneakerness in there?
It's a little bit of all three, just because I really loved basketball growing up, and so with that comes the sneakers. And with that comes just becoming a Warriors fan, although they were just super trash at that time. But everything just kind of all melded together at the same time. I think probably one of the first shoes that really made me fall in love with it was a pair of 14s. They're the black and like powder blue or university blue ones. Yep. And they're, for whatever reason, the suede on them was just like super cool to me. And so that kind of helped me like really get into it. And I was like, oh shoot, I need more of this. And just like getting super deep into the game.
So I believe I've seen your stuff featured in Slam also, right? For your photography. So I mean, like, that's obviously basketball and sneakers mixed together. I'm like, that's Jordan's, like, that's what you do. That's like bread and butter of yours. It's awesome. Let's go this direction. So like, didn't you do a whole bunch of Steph Curry promo stuff for his Curry line for his sneakers?
Yeah. So the first time I met Steph was actually a Slam magazine cover shoot. I was hired to shoot behind the scenes and just like be a person. Yeah, right. But I was hired to actually be a personal assistant and shoot a little bit of behind the scenes for like some of the guys that were doing the video work for Slam and like for the whole production side of everything. So this was for the Curry 6. He was doing a shoot in Oakland at the Fox Theater. A bunch of different people from Oakland came in, and just like, all these big guys from the Bay Area, just like E40 and all those guys. But I was just helping behind the scenes, and that was the first time I met Steph, and like that was kind of my intro into like being able to work with him a little bit, just because some people at Under Armour saw my work, and we kind of just built a relationship that way. And over the next couple of years after I met him, I would run into him at shoots, and I'd show up to his events and everything, and I'd introduce myself every single time, and just like it finally got to a certain point where I felt like he knew who I was, even if he didn't know what my name was. And then eventually he learned my name, and so we just ended up working together for an off season, and just like me being on the productions and the shoots and everything.
Man,
yes.
There's this. Let me break this down really quick. Like, you introduce yourself every time. Do you know how few people don't do that, or just like are embarrassed, or just like, that's how you do it though? Like, that's how you make an impression. That's how you get into somebody's memory banks. Like,
and it's super scary. Like, for me, I was still, like 18, 19. And I was just like, this is my first really big shoot and production. And it's like, I'm not even really the one shooting the cover, but I'm like, oh, this is a really big deal. So I show up and just like go super hard. And I was just like, hey, Steph, like, nice to meet you. I'm Jordan. I'd love to send you these photos once the shoot's done. So just like super timid about it. Yeah. And then just like, okay, like that wasn't too bad. And he's the kind of guy that actually is super approachable from, every experience that I had with him. Just a super nice, genuine, down to earth guy. And like everything the media makes him out to be, he's way more than that. Like, he's really a good person.
That's good. Whereas like the media makes him out to be nice, he's even nicer than
even nicer, and it's crazy. I'm like, oh wow, he's really him.
So that was you, a hot minute ago. Didn't you just do like, or maybe it was the second to last, or the second to last Curry, like specific Curry brand, like Curry Flow stuff? Haven't you done more recent stuff with him, and like more than just the guy taking little photos on the side? You're doing a little more.
So did I do this Curry 7? I didn't do the Curry 7. I don't think I did, but some Curry 8 stuff I was doing like during the off season with him. And so like when I was posting on Instagram from his workouts, I'd always cut off like right above his ankles just to like hide it. And that kind of built some anticipation. But then for the Curry 9, I was actually hired for the Shoot by Curry brand with like the whole Sesame Street collection and everything. So yeah, we've definitely done some official work, and then some where I'm just like there in the gym with him during the off season, and then just other times just showing up to his events. Like, I just try to be around greatness as much as possible.
No, definitely. And I mean, just thinking from taking prom photos and senior photos to working on the Curry 9, like what type of, let's just talk this as we get towards the end of the episode here. Let's just talk like a little like, photo stuff. Like, cause I just bought a Sony like VZ1 because I'm a very, very beginning. I'm a very, very, very beginner photographer. So like, what's some photography tips you'd maybe give to somebody trying to break in? They want to go bring a camera to the local park and just take some photos of basketball shoes.
Right. I think the way that I look at it is just experiment. Like, just really go out there and get your reps in. Like, it's really like basketball. You learn so many different things from basketball. Like, the more shots that you take, literally. In basketball and photography, it's like you're gonna get better, and you're gonna be able to figure out like, okay, this is what my shutter speed does, and this is how I can make this look like super dark and super cool. So it's like the more you experiment and the more familiar you get with the camera, and even if it's an iPhone, like you're able to just like train your eye and work on your compositions and all that. So that's really the best advice I can give is just like stay consistent, be disciplined, and like be a good person, because like, the better person you are is just like being genuine about the things that you do and like really being passionate and, showing love to all these other people. Like that's kind of it. It's just part of the human experience. And, for me, it's like, yeah, I'm a photographer and I've been able to like really build that way through like my skill, but it's really just because, to be honest, like I try to be a nice person, and not for any like because I expect anything in return, but it's like life is already hard, so it's like might as well be nice to people, smile, and just like help people out as much as you can. And if something comes of it, cool. If not, like at least you were nice and you put out good energy into the universe. So I think it really just comes down to being genuine.
Nobody wants to have their photo taken of like them doing something stupid, fail army type stuff. So go out there and take positive photos.
Exactly. And just like capture the memories. Like, I've come to appreciate like when my mom would always get us together when we were younger for group pictures, and she'd take like, 30 minutes to get one picture. Not really 30 minutes, but she'd take forever to take a picture. And we're just like, all right, can we go now? But like, as I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, photography is really important because, it's really like you get to time travel. You get to time travel to that one moment frozen in time and just like relive the emotions, the experience of it in your memories. And, that's kind of a big part because like, all these things don't last forever. So it's just kind of a way to remember everything.
Don't you feel kind of silly thinking back to all the times you were like, no, I don't want to take photos.
Yeah, right. So it's
family
like
photos.
Yeah, it was like such an annoying thing before, but I get it.
So, I mean, you just got a really good family photo last week. You were fortunate enough to get those sweet photos of Kanye courtside at the Warriors game. Crazy. And even like one of them, he looks over at you and it's like directly into your camera, and it's like, I see your soul, sir.
Yeah, right. And I wonder if that was like uncomfortable for him, because for me, I try to be like not super invasive, just because I and generally speaking, I try not to be super invasive with photography. But like when he saw it, I was like, oh, I hope he wasn't too uncomfortable or anything.
No. Man, he's courtside. A, he's Kanye. He's not the first camera that's ever pointed
facts.
at him. But B, when you buy those tickets or you get those tickets, like there's photographers all over the court. Like you gotta be ready. Can't be out there picking your nose. I thought about that. I went to a Hornets Blazer game and I was courtside and I was like, all right, man, don't be picking nothing. Don't be like
it's like be
weird with
be
your
normal,
hands.
be normal.
Yeah, be chill. I mean, you get to Warriors games. You've obviously, probably snuck a little photo of E4. It's like the amount of people you see at Warriors games got to be like, so many photo opportunities. Like, how does your brain like how do you focus in? Like, okay, you want to get game stuff, you want to get Jordan, you want to get that sweet dunk, that how do you process all that?
Right. I don't know. To be honest, like you really just get in some sort of a flow, some sort of zone where it's like you don't even really think about what exactly is going on. Like you see all these people and stuff like that, and it's just kind of just part of the game, to be honest. So like for me, I don't really ever get starstruck over seeing anybody. Like Kanye was probably the closest I've ever gotten to being starstruck, and it wasn't even that much. But everything's just part of the game and just like within the flow of it. Like I really only have to be locked in for like 3 or 4 hours. So it's like you just see it and you just kind of go get it, and like not even think about like, okay, I need to go get this. Like go get this guy. It's kind of like, oh, there he is. Click.
So logistically, are you like on the side of the Warriors bench? Are you like rover? Like, what's it logistically? How do you move about the court?
Right. So I'm actually stationed like where the TV cameras are. So literally everything that you see on TV, like that's literally what I see. And that's why if you go through most of my photos, that's kind of like the compositions. So like I don't really get to do too much creatively in terms of like roaming around and like playing with different objects like during the game. So,
Makes
nothing
sense.
too crazy, but yeah, at least pregame I get to like flex my creative muscles a little bit. But yeah, I'm shooting from the TV cameras every game.
Hey, Joe Schmoes like me who know nothing about how that works are now very enlightened about where the photographer is in relation to the basketball court and everything.
Yeah, but there's definitely the other like the team photographers and everything, and like the guys who shoot for the newspapers and editorials. Like they definitely get to be on the court. But for me,
you one day.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely make that happen. But I don't work for any publication. I really just work for Jordan. So I'm just up there kind of doing my thing in my own little world.
That's great. So, I mean, would you like to keep going more? I mean, you document a lot of Jordan. I mean, a lot of his like life it's bigger than basketball.
Right.
To use that phrase, it's just really easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
But like, is that the kind of direction you want to continue going in, or does that kind of, traveling with the team, let's say, or being like the photographer for the Warriors, like what kind of lane kind of interests you more?
Right. To be honest, I want to stay a freelancer as much as I really can. Like the only person right now that I would like go full time with is Jordan, just because like I want to be able to tell his story from like start to finish, like his whole journey through the NBA, and just like just him being somebody that I believe in. I want to be able to like tell that story and have it for him. But for me personally, I just want to stay the freelance route, just because I like to be able to do whatever I want without people telling me what to do, and just like do whatever I want creatively. And eventually I feel like that'll just help me more in the long run, just because I'm able to build the way that I want to and like chase certain goals. Like one of my big goals is to have my own creative agency where I can put on different minorities and people of color who don't get the same opportunities that I'd get, or like they're not even in the same rooms as me. So, to have the time to be able to like figure out a way to chase that, that's what I'm more interested in, instead of getting like, if I were to be like a team photographer, I'd have insane access and be able to sit on the hardwood and everything. But I have something bigger that I want to chase, and it's not necessarily being a team photographer. It's like it's beyond that for me.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, and nobody thinks you're saying that. But like what I think a lot of people don't pre-plan or meditate on really is like, what's my end goal with this? Do I want to go work for Adidas, Nike, Reebok, or do I want to go start my own thing and talk about Adidas, Nike, Reebok? So like,
right.
For example, like I've been fortunate enough to where I can ask you, Sneaker History is independent to where I can ask you, do you like Yeezys or Jordans? I don't have to go, do you like Yeezys or Adidas running, because this is sponsored by Adidas? It's
right.
like it changes quick. Like, and even if you don't want it to, like, when you're not independent anymore, you're not independent. Like,
literally.
you're not compromised, but like what you would organically do what Jordan would organically do on his own looks different. So
exactly,
I think it's a good route.
Yeah. And for me, like being a freelancer and just having that freedom, I can really work with whoever I want to work with. Like that, I can definitely put that in my goals. And if they want to work with me, like there's no problem. Like if I want to work with an Adidas and next year I want to work with a Nike, I could do that. So I just like to have that freedom and just like work on the things that I'm interested in at the time.
That's what's powerful is not just like having choices, but just I saw last week you posted a photo of you wrote out your goals, and you already spoke on that, having like writing it into fruition, like making it tangible. So like you seeing these goals realized and everything is really cool to watch from my angle, watching you do it. And I like to think maybe somebody's now going to start keeping a list of things they want to get done. So
yeah, for sure. And for me, it's just energy. Like, so I've been writing in my journals like everything that I want to do since I was a sophomore in high school, and just like always getting my thoughts down on paper. And for me, it was always just about putting the energy into the universe. And like there's such strong power in words, and like the way the words vibrate in the universe. And for whatever reason, I've just been lucky enough for things to align for me. And it's not even necessarily that I'm making certain things like Kanye West going to the Warriors game happen, but it's like the universe heard it for whatever reason, and they're like, okay, here he is. Like I wrote in my journal on March 8th that I want to photograph Kanye West. I was just reevaluating my goals and like some things that I want to do in my life. And come March 16th, I take a photo of Kanye West. So it's like, it's such a weird experience. Or another example is, I think it was January. The Warriors were playing the Rockets. and Steph hits his first like walk-off game winner. But for me, it was crazy, and I got chills because 2 days before and I didn't even write anything down for this. I was just like literally laying on my floor, just visualizing like I wonder what a Steph game winner would feel like. Like, what would I hear? What would it smell like? What would I see? And just like all these different things, I was just sitting there for like 30 minutes on the floor, just like picturing it in my head. And I don't have anything to do with that, but like it just happened. So it's like there's really power in the visualization and the manifestation process. And again, not that I have anything to do with Steph hitting a game winner or like Kanye showing up to a Warriors game, but it's like for whatever reason, the universe kind of does its thing sometimes.
No, it really does. And like, that's how I know you're really about it. Some people will just be like, oh, vibes, energy, meditation. Like you really, when you visualize the sense, the sound, the scent is what always triggers my ears. Like, oh, this person's really about it. Cause I used to do that when I was doing college sports. It's just like, all right, what does the arena smell like? So I did swimming. Like, what does the chlorine in the building smell like? How loud is everything? And it's like putting yourself in that moment is a step. People just think like, oh, buzzer beater, yay. They don't really like,
go into the more minute details of it.
So that's next level, my friend. Well, we're at about time. Is there anything you want to plug about yourself? Where can people find you? I think you're trying to get back into YouTube or grow your YouTube channel a little bit. What's that
a little
link?
bit. Yeah, so I think if you just look up my name, Jordan Jimenez, on YouTube, I should pop up. I don't actually know what my YouTube name is.
We'll find it.
I feel like before you used to have like a username, and now it's just kind of your name. So I think, that's how new I am to the whole YouTube thing. Like, I don't even really know what the name is. It has to be Jordan Jimenez, though.
Before it was a channel, it was just like a thing. And he's had a username,
My first channel name was Warriors Fan.
So now somebody's like, yo, let me buy that off you. I need that.
Yeah, right.
I need that handle. We'll look it up for you, though. We'll look at the YouTube. How about your other channels?
Other than that, _Jordan Jimenez on Twitter, 2 underscores J squared on Instagram. Yeah, hate the underscores, but you got to live with it sometimes.
You'll be so big one day, you're going to find that person and buy it off of them. Watch.
I've asked him already. I found him. His name is Jerry Jones. He has the J squared handle. Man, I messaged him and he's like, no, I plan on keeping this handle for a long time. I'm like, okay, I respect it.
Low key, I've also done the same person who has my name without numbers at the end. It's RAHBEE. That user is inactive. I report them every year. I report them every year and I get nothing. But
I've definitely reported Jerry too, even though he's active. You just got to do it sometimes. You got to try.
That. You got to. That's the moral of the lesson. Moral of the episode. Just try to be better. Try to get the next photo. Be better. Brian, Jordan, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for being here for our listeners. Listeners, if you're still here, make sure you give Jordan a follow. Make sure you like and subscribe to this episode and everything sneaker history related. I'm Robbie. You can find me at Sneaker History. It's been fun having you. Peace out.
Appreciate you, my man.
Hey everyone, this is Nick again. Before you take off, do us a solid and head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. Give us a rating on Spotify or Amazon Music, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we have even more content coming for you in 2022. Speaking of new content, we have an amazing community of sneaker enthusiasts that hang out in the Sneaker History Discord on a daily basis. While sneakers is the connection point that brought us all together, we've all discovered countless shared passions we have in common with other people within the community. We recently launched the first of a handful of new podcasts that will be coming directly from our sneaker history community. We'll get into the details for those in a future episode, but I'm excited to share that the Exhaust Notes podcast is now live. Now, this is a show about the world of cars, racing, and other automotive-related topics. If you're a fan of Formula One, Formula Drift, cars and coffee, or you're just a weirdo like me that enjoys the smell of gasoline, I think you'll enjoy this one. If you do, add Exhaust Notes to your subscribe list so you'll be updated when we drop future episodes. As always, thank you for supporting Sneaker History, and don't forget to tell someone you like their kicks today. Peace. Hey everyone, this is Nick again. Before you take off, do us a solid and head over to Apple Podcasts to leave us a review. Give us a rating on Spotify and Amazon Music, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we have even more video content coming soon. Speaking of new content, we have an amazing community of sneaker enthusiasts that hang out in our Sneaker History Discord on a daily basis. While sneakers is a connection point that brought us all together, we've all discovered countless shared passions that we have in common with each other. We recently launched a couple of new podcasts directly from our community. One of them is a Formula One podcast. If you're an F1 fan like me, the Exhaust Notes podcast is your weekly fix of Formula One fun. It's hosted by myself, Rohit Malhotra, and Todd Yates. New episodes drop every Tuesday. I've been wearing fitted hats for years and collecting my favorite teams since I was a little leaguer. It has been awesome to see so many new fans getting into fitteds in recent years. Crown and Stitch is our new talk show about fitted hats with Dexter, Keith, and myself, where we talk about fitted hats, snapbacks, throw in some obscure hats because we all kind of like some funky stuff once in a while, don't we? Copping, collecting, and so much more. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Hit the links in the show notes for this episode to give our new shows a listen, and be on the lookout for more new podcasts dropping soon. Last but not least, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to have someone show their appreciation. Thank you all for the support, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.